This is CBC Vancouver News.
More safety warnings as BC braces for an incoming heat wave.
We've now flipped the switch where we're seeing kind of our first heat spell of the year.
Rivers could rise pretty substantially with the temperatures.
This is what climate change brings to us.
A look at the risks brought on by the summer heat. Plus, Vancouver pool shortage.
We could have built 5 more of them for the cost that it would be today.
Kids Pool won't reopen until August, leaving outdoor swim capacity in Vancouver lagging well behind other cities. Also, peak season on strike.
I hope it doesn't go on for very long, I guess is the main thing.
A lot of things are closed inside, but the staff are still trying their hardest.
Harrison Hot Springs hotel workers walk off the job on one of the busiest weekends of the year, catching guests off guard. Hello, I'm Janella Hamilton. Thanks for joining us. The heat wave is settling in just in time for the weekend. Environment Canada has now expanded the extreme heat warnings to cover much of the province, issuing new warnings this afternoon for northeast BC and much of the southern interior. And whether you're embracing the heat or trying to beat it, caution is being urged. From the sun and the water to emergency call centers, Liam Britton takes us through some of the risks.
The mercury is rising and sun-seeking crowds are sure to follow. Patios are throwing shade at their patrons in a good way.
It's excellent. We've been waiting far too long for this. May and June were not great in terms of weather, and so we're happy that Mother Nature has graced us with her presence finally.
Beaches may be one of the biggest draws. To prevent too many waves of visitors, Bunsen Lake Beach in Anmore is reminding people to reserve parking or leave the car at home.
Over the course of the 2 or 3 years that we have been implementing this system, we have seen traffic reductions by 90% of what they used to be.
Summer fun is sure to be on the minds of many this weekend, but do keep in mind that in the lower mainland and parts of Vancouver Island, temperatures could crack the low 30s, and in Kamloops, they could reach as high as 40 degrees.
We've now flipped the switch where we're seeing kind of our first heat spell of the year.
Environment Canada is warning people to brace for potentially scorching heat.
I wouldn't call this a heat dome, but what I would say is, yeah, we definitely should anticipate more heat warnings in the near future.
This is climate change. This is what climate change brings to us.
Many cities like Maple Ridge are making preparations for those trying to beat the heat.
And we have to be prepared to help our residents to stay cool. We don't want to see some of the tragic accidents that were happening a couple of years ago during the heat domes.
First responders, too, are preparing for a busy weekend. Ambulance dispatchers are urging British Columbians to keep 911 lines free for emergencies only. The hot weather means higher fresh water levels as climbing temperatures trigger a rapid melt.
Just the general public may be looking towards rivers, lakes, creeks to cool down, but at the same time, they actually may be moving very, very fast and also very, very cold.
Still, BC's River Forecast Center says there is no risk of flooding at this point. Temperatures are set to remain higher than normal into next week. Liam Britton, CBC News, Vancouver.
And if you're looking for somewhere to take a quick dip, Kids Pool is set to reopen August 7th. The news is a surprise for many after officials announced last month the pool would remain closed through the summer due to a slew of maintenance issues.
This thing means so much to families, to people that, are bringing their kids here, their families here, people that are training, people from all over the planet who actually specifically come down to swim in Kids Pool. You are making a difference. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Mayor Ken Sims says repairs are currently underway to keep the pool operating for another 2 years while plans for a new one are being developed. City Council passed a motion last week paving the way for a Kids Pool replacement. The city is considering a dedicated fund for donations and corporate sponsorships to help make that happen. Options for outdoor pools are limited these days in Vancouver, with the aging Kids Pool closed until at least August 7th. The city is left with only 2 full-size public outdoor swimming pools. And as Karen Larson is finding out, comparisons to other big Canadian cities show Vancouver is seriously lacking.
Summer is here, the kids are out of school, and things are heating up. But cooling off in an outdoor pool in Vancouver isn't as easy as it used to be. Popular Kitsilano Pool is out of commission, leaving the city with just 2 full-sized public outdoor pools. Compared to other major Canadian cities, that's not many. Montreal, for example, has 63 outdoor pools. Toronto has 58. Even Regina, with a third of the population of Vancouver, has 5 outdoor pools. 15 years ago, Vancouver Park Board promised to build a new outdoor pool in Mount Pleasant Park and set aside this land. But funding requests keep getting shot down by Vancouver's other elected body, City Council. Pool advocates like Marjorie Duda are frustrated.
If we had built this back when we were in the draft capital plan several years ago, we could have built 5 more of them for the cost that it would be today. And now that we're down to only 2 outdoor swimming pools in Vancouver, I think somebody needs to step up and deliver on this commitment before the other 2 outdoor pools fail.
A new pool was also promised at the Marpole Community Centre, now under construction in South Vancouver. However, due to rising costs, the pool, seen here in renderings, is now in limbo, with no commitment for funding and no expected date of delivery.
Over there is the pool. I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to go.
Mike Burdick is president of the Marpole Community Association. He says locals deserve to know when they're getting their pool.
Does that mean in a year, 2 years? 100 years? I don't know. Nobody knows and nobody will tell you, of course. When they put out those renderings and all that publicity about what we're going to do, then all I want is for them to do it. Don't promise something and then not do it, because that's not right.
Over the years, Park Board has named pools a priority, but money remains the sticking point.
Park Board has a strategy. We're connected to the community. We understand the demands and needs of having outdoor pools. The city has not put money behind it.
Kitsilano Pool is scheduled to reopen August 7th, assuming repairs are successful. Karen Larson, CBC News, Vancouver.
For those looking for somewhere to swim outside Vancouver, outdoor pools in Port Coquitlam and Kamloops are opening up for free. Because the Sandman Centre in Kamloops is not open at the moment, officials say people can swim for free at a number of pools during public swim times when there's a heat alert. In Port Coquitlam, Mayor Brad West says the city's decision came after parents in particular said they appreciate having access to a free family activity through the summer. More than 200 workers at Harrison Hot Springs Resort and Spa have walked off the job. They're set to strike for 3 days on one of the busiest weekends of the year after bargaining talks broke down Thursday. So Rab Sandhu went out to Harrison Hot Springs to speak with workers on the picket lines and guests staying at the hotel.
This usually quiet and calm getaway town was woken up by loud chants Friday morning, with workers at Harrison Hot Spring Resort and Spa picketing out front of the hotel and puzzled guests looking on.
We did not know anything about this.
We were told that breakfast was supposed to be at 7 a.m. We arrived like 7:20 or something, and nobody was prepared.
Striking workers say the month-long wage negotiation with their employer has been unsuccessful, but the job action has left many hotel guests caught in the middle.
I guess we could get out of it, but we already paid for everything, so what do you do?
The union representing the workers says it has been bargaining for a new contract with the resort management. They're asking significant wage increase, better overtime pay, and advance notice of scheduling changes, some of which they say lost in the last round of negotiation during the pandemic 4 years ago.
Better pay, getting back what we lost, and recovering some of the benefits of being in a union.
Hotel management says it's actively working with the union reps to address concerns and reach an agreement, adding it appreciates the understanding of guests who have been affected. This group of workers behind me on the picket line includes 70+ housekeeping staff responsible for cleaning and maintenance. And with 2 more days of job action planned, things could quickly turn ugly for the hotel management and the guests staying inside. Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Harrison Hot Springs.
Now to something we haven't talked about in a while. COVID cases in BC have reached their highest level since January. The latest monthly data from the BC Centre for Disease Control shows there are currently 204 COVID patients hospitalized. It's only the second time since January that hospitalizations have topped 200. In the last week of June, there were 435 new infections province-wide. The majority of hospital admissions are among adults over the age of 60. Plans for community building are moving forward on the downtown east side. BC's housing minister says the redevelopment of an old Salvation Army temple will now envelop 3 more properties next to it as well. The project was initially planned for 2018 and was going to include 75 units. Now plans include up to 8 stories of below-market homes for people with low to moderate incomes, as well as homes for people dealing with homelessness. The first floor of the building will be dedicated to community health services. An application has been submitted to the City of Vancouver for demolition of the historic Salvation Army temple to start this fall. With the heat wave settling in across much of BC, many people are trying to figure out ways to stay cool. In Kamloops, temperatures are expected to hit 40 degrees Celsius by Tuesday. Shelley Joyce stopped by an apartment complex for low-income seniors to find out how they're coping.
Laura Douglas is 72 and prepared for the heat. She took advantage of an offer from BC Hydro to get this portable air conditioning unit for her 1-bedroom suite.
I turn it on. If I stand right in front of it, it's cool. It was 78, and it took over an hour to bring it down to 74. My bedroom, I think, is too warm for sleeping. So I don't have a portable fan. I may have to get one.
Not all of these apartments have air conditioning units. Many tenants are approaching the heat wave with humor and ingenuity. Laura Douglas is prepared to sleep on the couch.
Next week, when it gets into the 40s, I may sleep on my couch and have the air conditioner on and the ceiling fan right here. So that's probably an option. I think people have to start thinking of options for you to sort of plan ahead for when it's like dead air and hot, stifling.
Paul Eberhard is 78 years old. He lives in the same building as Laura, and he has no air conditioning at all. But Paul figures he lucked out by not landing a suite in direct sunlight.
My apartment is quite cool. I don't feel concerned for myself, but I do feel concerned for some of the other elderly people. I make lemonade. I just made I just made fresh lemonade this morning. I like making lemonade, and I have ice cubes.
Homemade lemonade helps. So does getting outside, even in the extreme heat. Laura Douglas says that the seniors in this building have figured out how to stay cool by chasing the shade and hanging out in the garden.
So in the morning sun is there. This has a lot of shade right here. In the evening, when it gets hot there, we move to the back of the building. So if you know an elder person that has no air conditioning, maybe give them a call to make sure that they're okay.
Temperatures in the interior are expected to soar to 40 for Monday and Tuesday. For CBC, I'm Shelley Joyce in Kamloops.
Indigenous dancers from across North America are in West Vancouver this weekend for the second annual Memorial Squamish Nation Youth Powwow. As the CBC's Rob Easton reports, it's a chance for young people in particular to connect and celebrate their culture.
Indigenous heritage, arts, and culture are all on display this weekend as people from all over the world come together for the Squamish Nation Youth Powwow. From a dance competition to traditional drumming, organizers say it's a chance for participants to connect with Indigenous peoples from diverse regions.
Well, it's about teaching the young people also too, the next generation, the generation before that, the next generation coming, right? We have to educate them on a lot of what's happening here. And just so you know, also, powwow is not their culture here. This is a borrowed culture from the prairies.
The three-day event is filled with vivid colors, music, tradition, and a strong sense of community. There are several different kinds of First Nations dance, including traditional, fancy, and jingle. I spoke with a young dancer and his mom as they prepared for the grand entry performance. What does it take to be a good dancer here?
A bunch of stamina and energy.
To see him fully thrive and be so involved in the community, it's heartwarming. And like he said, he's carrying on the tradition for his little cousins.
Organizers expect roughly 3,000 visitors to the park and say people from all backgrounds are welcome and that it's about cultural exchange.
People, the powwows, it's an open door. Come on down no matter what nationality you are. We do not turn people away. We actually encourage a lot of people to come out here and watch what we do out here. The people have to know, they have to learn that our culture is alive and well, and we like to share with it. People will begin to understand how we celebrate. Come on down, enjoy us, come share a dance with us.
The powwow runs until Sunday. Rob Easton, CBC News, West Vancouver.
A new roller coaster is opening at Playland tomorrow. The Thunderbolt has a 60-feet drop and fits 12 passengers. The coaster's themes are wild energy and electrifying speed. It had been under construction for more than a year and cost the park $16 million. Still to come, UK's election delivers a dramatic win for the country's Labour Party, ending 14 years of Conservative rule. That's next. Stay with us. There is a new government in the United Kingdom. The Labour Party has won nearly 2/3 of the 650 seats in the House of Commons, ending 14 years of Conservative rule. The new Prime Minister is Keir Starmer.
Politics can be a force for good. We will show that. We've changed the Labour Party, returned it to service, and that is how we will govern.
With Starmer and his Labour Party ushering in a new era, defeated Conservative leader Rishi Sunak is looking back. Just before leaving 10 Downing Street to offer the King his resignation, Sunak apologized for his performance and took responsibility for the defeat. The Cinderella run continues for Canada after defeating Venezuela in a nail-biting penalty kick shootout at the Copa America soccer tournament. It's been a surprising run for Canada for their first appearance at the international tournament rather. Many didn't think they'd make it to the quarterfinals. Now the team goes on to the semis on Tuesday against Argentina. Here we have a live shot of BC Place where the Rolling Stones are playing tonight. Darius will have your full forecast next.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
CBC returns as a media partner of the Surrey Fusion Festival, July 20th to the 21st. The festival features over 50 cultural pavilions that will incorporate the theme of landmarks of the world into their displays. For more information, visit surreyfusionfestival.ca. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC Vancouver's e-newsletter and keep connected with us.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace. To cool and clean the air in your home, call Direct Buy Furnace. Installing Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
Darius Madavi joins us now with a look at our weekend weather. Darius, are we expecting more sun over the weekend?
Oh, nothing but that, Janella. You know that's the case. With all those heat warnings that we heard about blanketing the province, really what's driving that is the same thing that's causing this heat dome down in California. Now, I know the term is quite charged here in BC for good reason. This is not going to be like a few years ago in 2021. We are going to get a heat wave, but even though it technically missed the definition for a heat dome where we have that high pressure sitting over the province, locking in all that hot air, it's not going to reach the same extent. So I'm going to stick with the term heat wave. Temperatures are going to get very high, as we'll see in a second, but not, again, to that level. So temperatures today continuing to come up in the next few days. We're already above seasonal across much of BC, only getting closer to that 40-degree mark. I would say tomorrow, this week, Monday or Tuesday. Next week, we're probably going to see those temperatures reach 40 degrees in places like the Boundary region, Asuyus, Kamloops, Lytton, Lillooet, you know, the normal suspects for reaching those high temperatures. But even if you're somewhere else, like the Okanagan, 39 degrees could easily get to 40 in some places. Southeast also getting quite hot, especially the West Kootenays. So across the board, we're looking quite hot, and there is a chance of heat warnings to pop up pretty much anywhere in BC over the next week or so. Not anywhere, but the vast majority of places could see a heat warning pop up. Now, if we take a look at the the lows that we're going to see this week, I said earlier that we were staying, the lows were low enough that many places weren't seeing heat warnings yet. That changed earlier today. The forecast is now for those lows to come up quite a bit by the end of this weekend, and potentially even a degree or two more as we get into next week. I'm going to show this, even though there's not much reason to, because there isn't really any precipitation coming, but just sort of to drive the point home that ridge of high pressure is firmly in place and not letting anything come in the near future. Fire danger also continuing to come up. I would keep an eye on this over the weekend. We'll take another look at it next week because it's continuing to rise quite quickly now. In terms of the forecast, nothing but sunshine across the board. The slightest chance of some precipitation down in the Kootenays, Revelstoke and Golden, but just the slightest chance in the East Kootenays. I wouldn't expect to see much precipitation at all. Everywhere, pretty much, Janella, we're just looking like this. Just sunshine, and make sure you add those values. 26 doesn't mean 26. If you're inland, add 6. Humidex, add 5 across the board. It's going to be a scorcher.
All in all, a good time to practice those safe practices when it comes to the sun. Thanks so much, Darius.
Thank you.
It was a big night for Rolling Stones fans as they got to witness moves from Mick Jagger himself.
Start me up. Get thunder started. Give it all you got. All you got. I can't compete with the riders in the other heat. I wrote it up.
The legendary rock band performed at BC Place as part of their Hackney Diamonds tour. Vancouver is the only Canadian stop on the tour. The band was last in Vancouver in 2006. A show was planned for Vancouver for May 2020, but it was canceled due to the pandemic. That is your late news for this Friday. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. For news at any time, you can always head to our website at cbc.ca/bc. We'll see you tomorrow.